Good evening and welcome to GeoWeather. I'm GIS analyst Andrew Fleck. And what we're going to do here for the evening is talk about our preliminary forecast map. We're going to talk about some of the A and B scenarios and really get you prepared and fully informed for what you can expect later Sunday and Monday across the forecast area. Kind of seems like every weekend, or at least every early week, we're having some type of wintry threat. This week upcoming is not going to be any exception. Another average 4-inch event for widespread the area. More is possible, or even some less with some ice. So we're going to talk a bit about that in this video. We're going to keep it short, but enough information to get you through overnight and prepared before Sunday. So what we have here first, very important, is our forecast map. This was a preliminary call we put out very early on Saturday morning, about 5 to 6. We figured we might have had to change it later Saturday, and we really did not. We kept what we had. We're going to maybe change it overnight into early Sunday morning, but throughout the day Saturday, we were very content with this map, and that's a good sign. That means we have some confidence on our side, and we've been following the trends, and everything seems to be going according to plan. So I'm very content with what we have here. If you can't see on the left side here, we are talking about Delaware, much of Delaware, southern New Jersey, a trace to maybe an inch, not much snow down over the southern portions. As you get up toward Newark, Wilmington, Chester, Philadelphia, Toms River, Asbury Park, maybe even southern Trenton or Trenton including, that's where you get into a little more snow, a coating, 2 inches, maybe 3 isolated in this area of the dark blue. Now as we move further northward, that's where temperatures are going to be a bit cooler, that's where the thicknesses, the axis at least will be hanging farther north and away from the core of that storm. So that's where we start looking into where we have Pottstown and Lansdale, Trenton, East Brunswick. You guys could very well get your 3 to 6 inches or so, even Reading included in that area. And that's kind of the whole trend with this event this time around, folks. We're not looking at a major nor'easter hugging the coast the next 12 to 24, 48 hours. This will be a storm that comes through the interior region and infects much of the forecast area. So that trend continuing here, Allentown, we have 4 to 8 inches, Easton, Hackettstown, even into Newark, maybe New York City, Pottsville, all in the 4 to 8 range. And then, of course, as we make our way much further northward of our viewing area, that's where we include East Stroudsburg, Pocono Mountain, Pike County, Sussex. We include 8 to 12 inches potentially up there. So it's really a tale of two stories. If you're in the lower southern lying area, that's where you'll have lesser accumulation. But if you're further north, the direct opposite, you're getting a lot more snow. So how is this all unfolding? Well, if you look and pan your eyes down to the lower right of our screen, we've generated a map, a very blank one, that does show our forecast area. And we're just going to give you a few scenarios of why we went with this forecast map and what could potentially go and occur, or what could maybe transition or change over the next several hours that could make more accumulation south or less north. So let's just go and explain that first off here. So we talked about a low pressure system, one that would come in from the interior region, not the coast this time, folks. That is not going to happen. Although the storm will make its way off the eastern seaboard much later on Monday. But for Sunday, what we will have here is pretty much an interior low pressure that will make its way in from the Ohio Valley into West Virginia, and it will track into the western part of Pennsylvania. Now ahead of that is a pretty nice cold air mass. So anything really north of that line right there, that includes northern portions of the Delaware Valley, the Lehigh Valley, central northern New Jersey, and so forth, that's where a lot of that snow will begin to fall. So that's why we're saying that we could very well see an early onset of snow and then change. So when we talk about early onset, we're talking about the very southern extreme areas of the Delaware Valley, central and southern New Jersey. That's where you're going to get that trace to an inch, you're coating to 2, 2 to 4. That's where, again, that colder, fresh air mass will be able to hold in enough so some of that accumulation will fall to start a snow. But as this low pressure does begin to push further north and eastward, as it does make its way through the Mason-Dixon line or at the Mason-Dixon line and travels its way northeast, that's where that thickness line begins to also track northeastward. And so that's where that change is expected. So now anywhere above or north of this yellow line is still snowing. This is why now we've kept places in the pink here at 4 to 8 inches. So we believe that those locations will hang on to snow a bit longer. That would allow accumulations to fall a bit longer, and that's why we have the accumulation we do. And obviously, as this low pressure then takes over, a secondary or the same area of low pressure will develop off the eastern seaboard, and much of those thicknesses will begin to crash back into the low or behind the low pressure, and then we'll be able to get a complete changeover of snow. So that's why we have gone with what we believe here on the forecast map. And again, this is our preliminary call. This is not our final call. We'll have the final call out Sunday or early Sunday. And I don't think much is going to change, folks. I think with what we have here, we're very confident with it. We didn't have to make any second call. Everything's going according to plan. The models were a bit more northward and warmer with the low pressure, but they have backed down a bit. I think they're finding a median, and I think that this is a good call for what we have. So that's what we're going to stick with. That's what we're going to go with here. We will have another forecast map out, potentially our final map out by early Sunday morning, so stick to it. That's what we have here at GeoWeather. We're calling for a very light accumulation for the Delaware Valley, southern New Jersey, Delaware, an average snow of 2 to 4, 3 to 6 for your Berks, your Bucks County, Montgomery, Chester, central New Jersey area. And then following the Lehigh Valley and further northward, we're talking 4 to 8, even 8+ inches. So that's the call for now. So stick back to GeoWeather for the latest and most updated map.